Please feel free to chat. Feel free to chat, but I'm going to hazard a guess that Sue, you're opening. Just a guess. please feel free to chat. Hi Angie, I hope you can hear me. Trouble with this at the moment is I keep dotting all over the place. I really haven't finished the hair. I haven't even finished the faces yet. But I just wanted to get some of this in, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do down the bottom here to try and make the composition a bit better than what it was in the photograph. The photograph was absolutely stunning, don't get me wrong, but there was an arm kind of out here and a gap, so I had to try and work that out because I didn't want this gap here. It wouldn't have looked right. And I'm just kind of working out how to do this as I go along. So I came out here because I was actually in danger of falling asleep on the sofa, and I do enough of that. So I thought, well, I really ought to get out here and do something. I was getting nagged at by my wife as well, so stop falling asleep on the sofa. So there we go. I'm just kind of working out what I'm doing here really at the moment. Getting the colours or the different tones in where I want them. And then I'm going to have to blend them out and gently blend them in. Quite a difficult colour to get actually. Along with the red here, it's quite a difficult colour to get. I'm sure it'll come together eventually though. I hope. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad you can hear me nice and clear. And thank you, by the way. I won't broadcast it, but you know what I'm talking about. So thank you very much. That's really, really kind of you. I made a little bit of a boo-boo here in the fact that I used soft pastel to put the background in. Because again, I wasn't too sure what I was going to do with it. And I'm trying to put pastel pencil over the top of soft pastel, as we know doesn't work very well. I'm trying to get this to look shiny eventually. Yeah, they are nice, aren't they? Well, thank you to her really for wearing it on the day. So it's actually a portrait of one of my people that attend my art group. It's a portrait of her daughter. She asked me to do. I'm very slow going at the moment. You can see how I dot about all over the place. Don't know what that's all about. I never used to in days gone by. I used to be very particular and very careful. Perhaps it's just that I find it, I don't know, maybe a bit easier now. I don't know. Either that or I just haven't got the attention span. Hey, Sue. Sue meet Angie, Angie meet Sue. This is Sue's daughter, by the way. Sue, I've got an awful long way to go with this yet before I'm going to be happy. But every little bit that I do hopefully gets me closer to the finished thing. Yeah, blossoming friendship all across the seas. It's quite complicated here. Ah, I know, it's because I haven't put this bit in. Stupid boy. I knew there was something wrong. Oh, I'll go back indoors then, shall I, if it's not till November? Oh, if only I'd known that. What date in November, Sue, if you don't mind? Well, no, you mustn't broadcast that over here, must you? Just wondering if that was the same as my wife's. That's kind of you to say, Angie. The thing with all these is that they all all right, okay. They all represent different challenges. None more so than me falling asleep on the sofa. So I haven't done any of this yet, so I haven't even finished this up here, or the face. Nothing is finished. It's all just kind of marked in for where I want to go. I need to improve the colours. I need to improve the face a bit more. There's a lot more I need to do yet, but every now and then I have to take a break from them areas and work on a different piece. So that's why I'm working on this. I'm trying to get this shimmer. I don't think I'll probably get it today, but it'll come eventually. Oh yeah, don't they just? A bit like YouTube. I keep losing my way. Keep forgetting what crease I'm doing. Old age. Right, okay, and that goes under there. Really shouldn't have put that soft pastel on to begin with, but there we go. Done it now. So I just occasionally just keep going, well, most of the time, in fact, just keep going over and over and over different parts. Try and get the tone as right as I can, really. Something not quite right here. I need to adjust it round it. I know what I need to do. I'm going to do that now. I need to bring this round here a bit more. So that's over there. That needs to come out. That then needs to come there. And that needs to come out there. There we go. That's better. It gives me a bit more room. I wasn't getting enough room here for this shimmer between that and the dark area. So I've had to adjust that slightly. And like I said, doesn't help because I've got the soft pastel sitting underneath it now. So what I'm going to do, if I can find one, just get a brush and brush that little bit out. Give me a second. Never a brush when you need one. Right, okay. Right, okay, so what I've got soft pastel under here, so for me to get pastel pencil on top a bit better, I'm just going to brush it out like that. Blow it. I could probably nearly get that right back down to the tooth of paper. And then have another go at it. There we go. Right, let's find the right blue again. There we go. You can see how it's going on a lot better now, look. That comes down there. That comes down there. Probably help actually. Right, okay. That's there. That's there, more or less. And this needs to come out to here. You haven't got to be too precious sometimes about getting the colour in there because you can all adjust it. And this is why I keep going over bits every now and then. Soften that in. And then we'll enhance it where we need to. If I can find the right pencil. I'm using pastel pencil, and you could erase soft pastels on some papers. Probably the best thing to do though is to do what I've just done and brush it off. And the reason I say that is because if you use an eraser, then you are going to rub the pastel into the tooth of the paper and you won't get it all off, and it could end up actually skidding, to be honest with you, if you kind of know what I mean. So it's best to just brush it. Well, my opinion, it's best just to brush it off. You get more of the tooth of the paper back, and you won't be left with pastel that you can't really do anything with. So there we go. That's a little bit darker there. That's better. That's a lot better. Good. Phew. Pressure's on. Sue's watching. And that comes down there. And that then comes round there. Don't want to go too low, that's the problem. And then this is going to be really dark in there. And that's going to come up through there. And that's going to come around there. Good. Soft in there. This is hard in here. It doesn't need to be as deep. And then that's a little bit darker there. I'm really just going back over this again now, softened it in. The more I do that, the more depth it'll probably get. Well, I hope anyway. The problem I have is getting the darkness underneath the hair as well. So I'm having to do some of the hair, just layer the shape in. Then I'm doing the dark, and then I'll layer the hair on top. And where I need to, I'll probably go back in with the dark again, just to detail it a bit more. See, that won't go on very well. So I'm going to get this brush. That's because I went over the top of the soft pastel there. And get a little bit out. And then I'm going to... Yeah, it's going on a lot better now. It's because I relieved some of the tooth of the paper. Wherever you can, you mustn't keep just going forward, you see. You've got to try and preserve what you can. Otherwise you could end up in trouble. Right, let's have a look at putting the highlighted bits in again. See, I will blend this, but at the right time I will just use pure pastel pencil just to make it look lighter. And then that won't be blended. And that'll hopefully give it some depth. Fingers crossed. But I also need to use a little bit of black in there somewhere to make sure that some of that is a little bit darker as well. And in the same vein, make sure that some of these lighter areas are a little bit lighter than they should look, really. So that they're more subtle. Now, that'll be subtle there, but on the edge of this will be quite sharp because there's a sharp crease there. So I'll make that more intense on that crease. Pressure is a lot of it. Right, okay, so we've got that in there. That in there. So these aren't just areas of light and dark, they actually fold. Well, you know that, they're folds. And that's why I'm going to have to put black in there at some point. In fact, I'll show you that in a minute. You see where I've lightened up a bit by just putting a little bit more pressure on there. But then on this part here, I'm trying to let the colour show through. And if I can't, then I'll get my blender and just touch it to let the colour show through. Or I might just dab it with my finger, just to let the colour show through, and then perhaps just brighten it a bit. Hopefully that makes sense. It's all about tones, you see. Especially with something like this, which is a shiny top. What I do need is a little bit of darkness in here against this fold. A little bit of shape. Yeah. Usually aren't too bad with fabric, but can't say I've ever done this type before. So I just lay the pencil, don't put any pressure on it. That'll give me a slightly darker tone there. It's very strange because, I mean, you can't see what I can see, so this probably looks patchy in comparison to that. And that's what I use my blender for. So I think my dog wants to come in. I'll just let him in, her in, him in, whichever one it is. Come on then. Yeah, it's all three of them. Not 2 minutes peace. That's all I wanted. So things like this, where the blender plays a big part, really. Yeah, they do need to keep track of me. Whenever I come out here, they follow me. Always. That's got to come around there. There's a seam there. I have to try and get that in there somehow. This comes up here, goes up there, and then I'll play the light off against it in a second. Hello, whoever else is watching. I'm just taking a very slow process of my portrait, that's all. I don't rush. I'm going to have to learn how to rush, if you know what I mean. Some of you will, some of you won't. In effect, I'm just playing with all my mid-tones at the moment, really. This is quite light, but it's not going to be the lightest. And then darks I've got on there are quite dark, but they're not going to be the darkest either. Right, hang on. Let's just get this in here. Let's just do some gentle blending. If you notice, or you can notice on screen, how you get a different blend with a blending tool than you do with a finger. If I put the finger on there, it just blends it right down and makes it look a bit hazy. When I use a blending tool, it keeps it a little bit cleaner. That was what I was looking for, where the dark can mix into this. Light tone, and then hopefully look like a fold. You might not always get that straight away, but you sometimes have to keep working on that. Right, let's put a little bit of dark in here. Got my cat in here now as well. Oh. Mind you, it thinks it's a dog, so it's not surprising. Right, I'm going to get a black. Oh, scary. And that's going to go right in the centre of that dark to show where the deepest recesses of that seam are. Hopefully. I just need a little tiny bit there, not much. That seam comes up there. Right, little bits of dark in here, just to darken that up where the creases of the creases, if that makes sense. A little bit of darkness there. Another seam here, so that can be quite dark. And another seam here that is dark at the top, but fades away. And that's dark, very dark. And this here is quite dark. I've got that dark in there. It's all starting to come together a bit more. That's a seam there. Got that a little bit off. That should be there. Just got a bit of dark there, and I'll just mix that in. Still want that looking blue, but not as blue as it was. Right, okay, that's that. There's a little bit of a fold there, where that folds over. So that dark needs to come over. That needs to look circular. And that comes down there like that. If you can hear anything, it will unlikely be my dog called Honey, who will be ripping paper up. My fault for leaving it on the floor, I guess. Keeps her out of mischief. Right, we need that to gently come out to there. This needs to be a little bit darker. We just add some colour in. And just soften that down. Soften these black parts. So they hopefully look a bit more shadowy going into the light, working their way out to the light. Would you like some collage on this? An easy way for me to get fabric, probably, he says. Alright, that's where the arm joins the body, that part there. So I'm just putting that in there now for a bit of guidance and that there. Okay, and that's there. And this needs to be a lot darker here. This competition I'm going in for, as you both hear and you both know what I'm talking about, I may have to come up with an interesting story, apparently. So that'll be easy. Just tell them about how my art teacher wouldn't let me take the exams because he said I weren't good enough. I wonder if I can take him as my friend to the day. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Mind you, poor fella's not alive now. Yes, they love our garden, the doves. I'd love to have a dove box. Oh, is there a lot of bird song on my videos, is there? Oh, right, okay. I suppose it all depends. I have the door open. Which I don't that often. I do on lives for some reason. I don't know why that is. I'm getting completely lost now. Hang on. Let me try and... Ah, I see. I see. That needs to fade into there. That's why. We don't want stark white lines. That's really not what we're looking for. Right. Okay, and that fades out to there. A little bit of darkness in here. Just add the colour in and then just blend it down. That needs to go up to there, so bring that black out. And there you get that transition between the blue and the black by doing that. He hopes. That's only a thin line there, and so is this a very faded line. That needs to look like a fold, so we'll blend the dark into the light. Oh yeah, my art teacher was. Funny thing is, as I got older in life, it's amazing just how many similarities we had between us. I mean, he used to be a runner and so did I. Art, all that sort of stuff. He was good looking. No, sorry, no. Oh, dear. Right, yeah. Teachers can destroy you, I'm afraid. Right. That needs to be dark in there. Oh, pardon me. Right, I'm going to get a white. If I can find one. It's not white. This is white. I don't know if that's the one I want. Yeah, that'll do. I'm going to try initially to put some brighter areas on the brighter areas, if that makes sense. Just glazing that on there, really. So just effectively resting it on the paper and moving it. Kind of letting the pencil blend itself. I think I need to be a bit darker in here. I wasn't meant to evoke that amount of laughter. Oh my god. Right, as you can tell, this is a very long process. How long have I been here? Oh, about an hour doing this shoulder. So I don't suppose it's that long, but yeah, that's meant to go up there. That's meant to come around here, so I've got a little bit of light in the middle of that. Same with this. And again, I will then have to go and blend it all down a touch. This will probably make a lot more sense when I get everything else in. It's quite difficult because there's this shimmer over the clothing. Unless I get everything dark enough, I'm just not going to get that. This bit isn't nowhere near dark enough. This bit, possibly at the moment, is slightly too dark. But that's easy enough remedied. I'm just going to colour some colour into it or on top of it, and if not, I'll just remove it. There we are. Using the pencil to blend the black and the colour together. It is exceptionally dark on the reference photograph, but I don't want it to be that dark. I want it to be lighter by a degree, because I want the colour, not the darkness, the blackness. So that's what I've now got by mixing that together. We'll work some colour either side of that seam. The seam can be dark black, I don't have a problem with that. And do with that. Mixing a little bit of that colour into the light. It's kind of all about subtle changes now. Just stroking the pastel pencil in. That's better. Well, my battery is getting low on my computer apparently, so I'm not going to be much longer.